Okay, so this is July 17th, about 7:47 PM. This is Berlin Recreation. We are meeting tonight to discuss the playground proposal we have as we were awarded $180,000 to redo the current existing town playground on South Commons. So oh, no, we've been at work. Oh, there she is. Oh, excuse me, I'm just gonna promote someone. I just lost her. I don't know how that's possible. Anyways, we've been at work trying to recreate a playground that meets ADA compliance, that speaks to the specific age groups of the young children, all the way up through um, elementary school kids, and what to do with the current existing units that we have there, how to remove all the surfacing. So this is definitely a daunting project because there's so many moving parts to this, and there's so many choices for play structures. So what Felicia and I have been working on, here she is. Um, Hi, Fee. That's fine. Oh no, just want to make sure she's in. She's rejoining. Okay. Oh, good. She's in. Can you hear us or me? I mean, I feel like her name's there, so I think we're good. Okay. So what we're going to do, the goal of tonight is for everybody to take a look. We're going to go through the line items on the quote proposal that we have. We'll match it to the picture so you guys can see what we came up with. We can have a discussion about, do you agree with the structures? Do you disagree with the structures? Playground Boss is a company out of Texas. They're fairly big. They have been really great with meeting with us and doing follow-up meetings. So if there is something that we do want to change, that's not going to be a big deal so long as it stays within budget, right? Um, so playground equipment is very expensive. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Well, first, before we start, does anyone have any questions about anything that is, oh my gosh, look how much stuff this is. Any questions you want me to answer before we dive right into the images and the quote?
No question, but just a comment. The layout looks awesome. It looks amazing.
Yeah, they
It'll
did
be
a
such
really
a fan.
nice job.
Yeah.
I agree with that, Bob. Um, okay, so let me go
Oh, sorry, Joe.
to,
I did have one question.
sure, yep.
Um, just as far as, and I apologize if this was covered at the last meeting.
Nope, perfect.
Did we ever figure out where the playground was like a memorial playground? Whether like we're still gonna have that be in memory of the kid, or do we talk
Yep.
to the parents about that? Or
Yep, that's a good question. Felicia, do you want to answer that? Because Felicia did reach out to that family. Um, I'm gonna send her a message.
Alicia, do you know that you're muted?
She's muted. She has to just unmute herself. I think I'm muted. Yeah, you're muted. You just want to unmute yourself. Well, okay, I'll just answer the question. Felicia did reach out to the family. I don't want to speak out of tongue though, because I know this is a really delicate topic. Felicia, why can't you unmute yourself? Ugh,
spreading out and paying attention.
I'm trying to do it on my end, but I can't do it. Da, da. Ah, all right. Well, we did reach out to the family. Yes, Felicia did it. And we are going to keep it as a memorial playground. We would like to still name it, but once we get closer to the execution of that, Felicia's going to reach back out to the family. Um, and inquire if we'll do an opening ceremony, if that's something that she wants to be a part of. Once Felicia can unmute herself. But yes, Mark, the answer to your question is yes, and we are going to keep it as a memorial playground,
Awesome.
which is great.
That top line budget was for the project once more? Was it 160 or 180?
It was 180.
Thanks.
And that includes everything soup to nuts. So that's demo, that's install, that's prevailing wage, that's everything. Oh, she's off her thing again.
Julie,
All
do
right,
we have
guys.
to put this out to bid? Where it's
So that's a good
ARPA funds?
question. Yeah, that's a good question. So how this works is playground equipment can be on what's called the state bid list. Kristen was explaining this to me this past week. And what that does is if these companies are already on the state bid list, then that big, massive dollar amount of a start, it's like $180,000, shrinks down quite a bit once we remove all those pieces of equipment because the state has already bid those out. So long as we can keep the rest of it, $10,000 to $50,000, she said, with labor. I do have to ask her if that includes the demo and no, actually, I don't think it would because that would be labor. So she said, as long as the labor stays within that $10,000 to $50,000, we only need 3 quotes. We don't have to put it out to bid. So I sent
nice.
Kristen. Yeah, but I don't know if so I talked to Ryan from Playground Boss to see if he's on the bid list. Hold on, I'm gonna try to get Felicia back in here. Hold on, guys, sorry. I'm gonna promote you again. All right, Felicia, you should be in. So the Ryan from our rep from Playground Boss, and we've sent the bid over to Kristen, so there's a bid number that they have to have. So Kristen's gonna check in on that and make sure that we are able to proceed without doing a bid if we can. We still
Great.
have to acquire 3 quotes, so we'll use them, we'll get one more, and you just have to seek out the quotes. You don't actually have to have received them, which I think is interesting.
You know, now that you have a baseline design that you're happy with,
mhm.
I mean, ideally, the company you've been working with is on the bid list, right? And we just move forward with a partner that so far is proving themselves. But if they're not on the bid list, there are a bunch of other playground companies, you know, that we could probably share that design with that might be on the bids list, you know?
Sure, right, you're exactly right, Bob. Yep, 100%. And I guess there's they can also be a part of a cooperative agreement too. And Ryan was explaining if they're not on the bid list, they're happy to get on the bid list if they're not. So so Kristen will have to just certify off on this. But either way, I think that's a good point, Bob, that, you know, all hope is not lost if this doesn't work out because we do have a really great design.
Yeah, in fact, the company that is going to deliver the pavilion for us is on the bid list. We were able to verify that. And
Great.
really the pavilion's like a side part of what their main business is designing playgrounds.
Ah, all right, that's good then. That's good to know. Okay. So they would probably be obviously they're on the bid list for playground.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, that's great. That's good to know. All right, so I'm just gonna quickly share my screen here just so we can all just see the image. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, that's kind of small. So this is the footprint. So I want to briefly Felicia, can you hear us? I think she must be.
Julie, I'm not sure if you're sharing the right screen. We're still seeing Windows Explorer.
It says I'm Shane screen. You don't see the image?
No.
I don't.
That's weird. It says I'm screen sharing.
And Felicia's saying she can hear us, she just can't unmute. I wonder if there's like a permissions thing going.
This is
Classic.
all right. So you don't see the playground image in front of you?
Oh, there it is.
Now we
I do now, yeah.
Oh, yay. Okay. Maybe it just took a second. All right. So this is the design. So just so we have some idea, these swings that are down on the left, those are where the current swings are, as if you were coming from the gazebo. You know, the kids run right toward the swings. Those are the swings there. We went with 4 regular, 2 baby, and then 2 ADA compliant ones. I'm going to talk about the base here in a second. The first little structure with the tents on top, that's for like little kids. They kind of can go in there and sit down and throw wood chips and stuff, and play with music stuff. In front of that is the monkey bars, freestanding. We have the balance beam next to that. And then there's the very massive play structure there. I also sent another attachment that gives an aerial view. And what's great about that aerial view is to us, because we don't deal with playground equipment and safety space, that gives these really great safety zones pictured there. So I might say, like, why don't we put something in between those 2 play structures, move the balance beam there? But you actually can't, because everything's measured. And so there's a circular design around all the play structures, and nothing can go inside of those. That's why you see that picnic table kind of really tucked in that corner. It's because there needs to be a safety zone around that dome. Now, what we're looking at right now, the surface, see that green on the bottom underneath the play structures? That is what's called a pour in place rubber matting. And what's advantageous about this is on the other side, I'll go to another image in a second, but on the other side, there's a handicap accessible ramp that ramps right into that. And that entire structure then, including those ADA swings, is accessible versus having just pathways that go to the swings, from the swings, back over here to any ADA toys that are under the big structure. And Ryan said, what's great about this, and he's been doing playgrounds for a while and he's seen these. He said, if you have a child that's in a wheelchair, say, for example, and they want to go down the slide, they get out of the wheelchair, they make their way up the slide, and they land down the slide on the mat. If their wheelchair is over here, say, they now are limited in their mobility getting from that slide to back to their wheelchair. So he said that takes away all of that. It allows those ADA or those children that have that limited mobility, the freedom to work within that space. It is more costly. It's a difference of $20,000. The pathways versus the poured rubber underneath the entire thing. So there's that to consider.
Julie,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, yeah, interrupt if
And
you want to ask questions right
cor-
away.
correct me if I'm wrong here, but looking at this picture, the
Yeah.
ADA stuff is great, but I'm looking and there's nothing going to the picnic table.
No,
For the
well, we'd
ADA
probably,
mat.
yeah, you're right. There's nothing going to the seated picnic table area. Because well, we could do one of 2 things there. It would have to be, it's so close to the edge. We could either do
Yeah.
a ramp in, we could
Mhm.
add an additional ramp. That's like $560. Um, you know, we don't, this dome thing here, well, 2 things. Well, 2 things. This structure that you're looking at is about $197,000.
Mhm.
Okay. So if we remember how at our last meeting, Bob and Mark, the original design was just the rectangle. It did not have the dome and it did not have the playground. And we were under budget. So we said, hey, why would we waste that space? Why don't we keep it? So we reached out and said, can we add the border timbers in? Can we add another climb structure? And we have picnic tables that we'd like to keep there as a seated area. He said, no problem, we'll do that. So then in adding those things and putting the ADA compliance or accessibility under all those structures, that bumped us from the 180 to 197. So what he suggested was that bump out section that we see here with the dome and the picnic tables, make that a phase 2 of your project. Keep the rectangle as is with all the subsurface as it is. So you don't have the pathways. And then when you have an additional, I think it was $18,000 or 15,000, then they can come back and do the phase 2 bump out section.
Julie, can I
Because,
ask you?
sure, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Well,
Well,
so-
go ahead. You finish and then I'll.
Okay. So this the green surfacing that's underneath, if we remove that, right, and we add in just the pathways, which will just give accessibility to the swings and to the other handicap accessible things, and their little their paths, we will still then have to add under those 2 ADA swings, a path there, and we'll have to put mats under all the slides, which I think there's 3 slides on the structure, 3 or 4, I can't remember. But you will end up saving roughly $20,000, but it will not look as clean as this design here that we have.
Got it. What is the tan color? What's that material?
Oh, good. That's just, so we have a choice there to make. You have an option between wood mulching or rubber mulching. I thought, and I think Felicia and I think Beth, you had weighed in on this as well, that the wood mulching was more appealing to our community over the rubber mulching. Ryan
Yes.
did say rubber mulching, when you think of rubber mulching, you think of these black pieces of rubber, and they can paint those to make them not black. My concern was more that it's rubber pieces, and this kids put them in their mouths, and I suppose they do that with wood, and I know the wood's treated too, but I just feel like the wood is safer than the rubber.
I think they would be less apt to put wood in their mouth than they would the rubber pieces. They
Yeah,
would probably, you know what I mean? Like they might, but I think they'd probably do the rubber pieces more than they would the wood. But that's
yep.
I'm looking at
Um,
an overhead view from Google Maps of the current
Yep.
playground. Would it be fair to say that the driveway today goes here? Is that how it works?
Yep, that's right, Bob. Yep,
Pool's over here?
well, look at
Yep.
you, Bob.
Huh? Huh? All right. So the
Right.
swings rotate 90 degrees,
correct.
right? Okay. All right. Got it.
Yep.
Uh, so I've we've played on playgrounds with what are probably the pour in place mats before, as a family, and it is
Mhm.
nice. It's like this really even, unbroken, uniform surface. There's like zero trip hazard. It is very nice.
Okay. That's,
Did Ryan give a sense of like maintenance? You know, what happens if it gets damaged? What happens if it gets torn up? Something cuts into it, tears it up. How do you fix it?
so they can replace them. Of course, it comes at a cost, right? But he said they typically do last 5 years. So you would then build that into your budget over the next 5 years. Now warranty I didn't talk about, so there may be a little bit of a warranty, and I can ask him about that. I'm writing that down as I speak.
I'd be curious, Julie, too, to know like, can they patch the pour in place surface, or do you have to go in and like remove all of it and pour a whole nother one?
Got it. I'll ask him that.
And what would that cost be over 5 years if if it's a 5 year replacement time, like what's it cost 5 years from now?
Sure.
I love it. I'll tell you, I've been paying attention to playgrounds since we
Right.
had this on our radar, and I was up in North Conway over the April vacation with my girls, and where we were staying had a playground that was very kind of blended in with the rustic vibe of North Conway, New Hampshire, and I took pictures of it, and it's very, very similar to what you're sharing here. And I think it would look so nice down there in our community.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, love it.
And yeah, I think it's great. I think that, I mean, you really, man, when you start going through the playground structures, there's just so much.
Yeah.
But I think we just had to, stay really focused. Felicia did a really good job with that too. picking the playgrounds because she also has younger kids. I'm a little removed from the playground, so it was nice working with Felicia on this because, like you, Bob, she's on playgrounds, right? So she knows, ooh, that gap is not going to work there because someone could fall. So that was really great. Beth's comments too, I think about the picnic table space too, and making sure that's ADA compliant so people can, if they want to go sit, they have to have accessibility to that. The advantage to the rubber mulching is that it is ADA accessible, compliant. So you can roll wheelchairs right over the rubber for the entire thing, over the wood, which is not.
Hmm. We should
Yeah,
probably
that-
think about how often we'd have to replace wood mulch versus rubber mulch.
Yep, we did that. We talked about that. Felicia brought that up too. Rubber mulch is supposed to be, lifelong because it's rubber. However, pieces will go out and you'll have to fill it, but the total cost there is nil once it's in, virtually. Wood mulching, on the other hand, it's 1 to 2 years, and that's dependent on the weather and the moisture and the breakdown of the wood. But he said you can get away with 2 years, but you should be leaning more toward one.
Hmm.
So that's something we would certainly have to budget for as well.
Is there a
Um,
cost difference between the two if he does it, rubber and wood?
yeah, the rubber, I saw that on a quote, Bob, but now I don't have that off the top of my head.
All
I
right,
think the
that's
rubber's
okay.
cheaper.
I feel like, oh, there's Felicia. Oh, what's
Oh,
going
there comes
on?
Aaron
Good girl.
from. She's checking in. Rubber's
Good job.
cheaper, really.
I've been here the whole time. It just was not working.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like the rubber might have been cheaper. Yeah,
I mean, I guess
probably
the
because it's toxic.
disadvantage of rubber is like you're not going to go to Lowe's and get a few bags or call one of our local landscape supply companies. They're not going to have it. It's going to be a little trickier to get it, but you'll probably need it.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're going to need it less often.
Yep, definitely less often for sure.
It's definitely going to get kicked out of that area. It's going to get blended in with the grass around it, and it'll over time it's going to disappear.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Um, I've done a lot of reading on the rubber mulching. I mean, I suppose for every 10 articles or 10 studies you read on how safe it is, you can find another 10 that you can read that are, it's not safe. And I'm sure you could read the same about the wood, right? So,
I mean, the
um,
downside, the safety downside I've read about regarding rubber mulch is that it's ground up tires, and that's not inherently unsafe in its own. But I guess like sometimes you find pieces of the steel belting and banding embedded in the rubber. I don't know if you came across that, Julie, in your research, but tires have steel threads in them basically, and so when you shred that, they really need to separate the parts with the jagged steel threads sticking out from the playground materials, and sometimes, it's like finding a bone in your fillet of fish.
got
It's
it,
gonna
got it, got
happen.
it, got it. Yeah. I got it. I just like in my opinion, I mean, I know what we would have to budget for it and it would cost. Year over year, you're looking at what, $1,800. Um, I mean, we could make that up in, I don't know what. We could run some programs. I like the idea of the wood. I think rubber is blah, in my opinion. We can vote on that and we can see. I'm trying to look and see if it's on our quote here. I know it is.
Jules, do you know if the diagram is the actual color of what the poured in place will be?
Well, we can choose that, but I think he just tried to match it sort of with what he was getting a sense our feel was in this kind of rural, because it matches the green top. But
Okay.
if we didn't
I
like
just think,
that,
just in my own experience, because I've been to a few playgrounds that have the poured in place, I think if it's darker, the wear and tear is quicker because it really heats up.
okay,
I don't know if they have lighter options, but
sure, okay,
just a thought.
you got it. I will check in with him on that. All right, that's good. So everyone is satisfied with the design.
Yeah.
Love it.
So we
I
are
think
gonna
maybe
have to,
just one piece of feedback is, I
yes,
mean,
yes.
I'm happy. Like if our town got this, everyone would be better off for it.
Yes.
Just knowing that we've just been working with one company so far to create the design, I think it would be interesting to just take this design and send it to somebody we haven't spoken with and tell us, ask them how much, right? Just to calibrate, is this really $180,000 worth of work, or is it $250,000 worth of work? Is it 120K? Just to understand what we're getting for our money, because
Yeah.
I
We'll
have
have to do that,
no way of
I think.
judging.
Correct. Yeah, so
Yeah.
just so
Our
everyone's
process.
clear, yeah. Go ahead, Mark, were you speaking?
Oh no, I just said that. I think that's what we said earlier. That's part of the process we'll go through.
Right.
Yeah, so that's
We
exactly
have to,
right. We will have to do that with 3 different companies. We may even have to write do an RFP, right? God help us. We have to do that, but hopefully we don't have to do that. But that's a good point. You're right. You're right. So we're gonna have to make the decision here if we want to do, say, a phase 2 of this. And so we just keep the rectangular structure, forget the dome, forget the picnic tables for right now, so we stay within budget. And that actually, you guys, I sent over to you, I sent so many, so I'm just gonna see which one it is, and I'm just gonna share it with you. So that was for 179, 440. However, that does not include the removal. Which stinks. So I'm gonna screen share something else. Hold on, I just want to screen share really quickly. So I don't know how, I'm sharing it all here, huh? Can you guys see this quote?
not yet.
Well, it'll come up in a second because I'm screen sharing on my end. I don't know why this is taking so long. But to do the demo, and the removal, it's $9,878. So that would put us over budget. Now, do I think between the community and possibly our highway department, maybe we could remove the structures? I don't know. I haven't talked to Kristen about that and liability and yada yada. I know that communities do these where communities contribute to community builds with playgrounds, so I know it's possible. I just don't know if that's something Kristen would allow. But that would certainly save us, $9,878. Which again is not added onto this quote. So again, now we're over budget by $10,000. With the
Julie,
removal.
is our funding for this flexible in any way through ARPA funds? Is there any extra available if we were over budget a little bit?
So that's a good question. As far as I understand, all the ARPA money has been spent, but I don't know if they have sort of, 10,000 or 5,000 laying around that, they don't want to accept new projects in, but if something needs to be pushed over the finish line, they may have some to do that. I think, isn't that what happened, Bob, with didn't we do that with the courts, with the walkway, the ADA walkway?
Yeah, they
think that
came
came-
up with it was like 20 grand or something.
Came
Mm,
from ARPA.
From ARPA funds,
But
right?
yeah, I mean, if we're $15,000 away from the ideal state, I would probably advocate to not split it into 2 phases and just see if we can find 15K. Because
I agree.
the overall
Oh, no.
cost of second phase, 15K plus the time, because it takes forever to do these things. It's just not.
Yeah, I'll just do it all at once, definitely.
Well, wait, no, we're not 15K. So the removal is 10K. That's not included on any quote. Okay. So we either have the $180,000 quote, which does not include that bump out section of the dome and the extra timbers. Okay, so there's that. Or we have the one that does include the bump out with the dome and the timbers at 187, right? And then add in the 10. So that'd be what, 190,
17, okay, over.
197. We'd have to add another ramp. So we're like, yeah, I don't know, 16,000.
I think we could make up that money if we had to.
You do? Okay. I can ask Kristen. Um, if there is
And if
an
ARPA's not an
extra,
option, I think there's other ways to kind of raise that money, right?
we could fundraise. I mean, rec could kick in from our revolving fund, a portion of it. The thing I was considering with the phase two is also doing a fence. And the reason why I say that is because it is, you guys have been to the one at, where's that, Vale in Clinton?
Yep.
That's right near the road. And they, as we know, that's a beautiful park. And that playground, is fenced in. And there's definitely advantages to being fenced in anywhere. But certainly from where we are, like what you said earlier, Bob, just so I get this right, the road's right there. And that was a really good point. The road is right there. So if we don't have a fence there, can we do it? Sure, of course we can do it. We've been doing it like this. But if we can add a phase two project of the fence and then the additional sort of sitting area with the dome. I mean, this is what CPA funding is for. It's to, build these beautiful projects in town for the citizens, and to preserve, open space and land and historic. But that would be, I think, a good use of those funds, because it probably wouldn't be that, I mean, right? It wouldn't be that much money. Look, if we can find $20,000, sure, I think we should just, like you guys are suggesting, go for the whole playground, start to finish.
You know,
But if we
our
can't,
commu-
right?
yeah. And I mean, we know our community never says no to a good fence. But if another option might be some arborvitae, like privacy shrubs between the
Mhm.
road and the playground to create a barrier, that might be even
The only
going.
challenge with that, Bob, is that if a kid goes on the other side of the arborvitae, you kind of lose sight of them, and they could be
Sure,
in the road.
they pop out
Mark,
as
I
a
was just gonna say that kids love to hide.
so then you put a fence on the inside of the arborvitae so the kids
Arborvitae.
listen. I'm a
I
solutions.
love it. I love it. So okay. So where's Beth? Beth, what do you think? Oh, she might have jumped off. She said she
No,
might have
I'm
had to
here.
jump off.
I'm here.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Oop, I've lost you for a second. I don't know what I did. Um, hold on. I can get you back. Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds good either way. The only thing I'm thinking is if we do a phase two, I don't know
Yeah.
what you guys think about this, but I don't know, maybe it's a stretch, but what if we did in the phase two, we did all the poured rubber instead of the little pieces of rubber or wood chips? I don't know. Just a thought.
That's a lot.
Interesting
I'm-
thought. It is a nice surface. I'm a little worried if the guy trying to sell it to us says it'll last 5 years. That's gonna go like that. That's the only concern. I love it as a surface. Like you can take your
Right.
shoes off, run around on it. It's comfortable. It's soft.
Mhm.
Mm.
That's what I'm
But
thinking.
then
Because
again,
like,
the playground doesn't
what
take a
little
ton
kid
of-
has their shoes on during the summer?
Right.
I
Right.
know mine aren't little and they still don't wear shoes.
Right. Just sucks.
Yep. Well,
I
I'm
would
lucky
say.
if they wear socks.
So
We
you're
haven't been able to buy
suggesting.
the socks since April.
So you're suggesting to maybe do the entire playground with the poured.
I mean, it's just a thought. I don't know how much it'll cost or how much it will involve. And if this only lasts 5 years, how is that going to be to replace? Like, is that going to be like a tear it up, throw it back down? Like, I don't know. So just something to think about. And if we're going to do a phase two, you know what I mean? Something to
Okay.
think about as it, or throwing that in there. what is it going to be involved with doing that? Is it going to have to be like a whole rip up thing? And then, is it going to be like a week long? Is it going to be a month long thing? Um,
Okay,
just,
I'll ask Ryan that.
yeah, just something to think about. And would
Okay.
that be more the money?
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay.
Jules, did we get a quote just with rubber mulch?
Yeah, I believe we do have a quote. Rubber mulch.
I mean, I'm not really supportive of just doing rubber mulch, but I'm just curious, because they say that's accessible or compliant or whatever you said.
Yeah. I don't
I mean,
think
I
the
know,
quotes. Go ahead.
um, I feel like when they say 5 years, it means that it might start deteriorating, not necessarily like all be garbage. You know what I mean? Like at the playgrounds I've been to, like the one, I mean, on the vineyard here, they have one that the kids go to all the time. And there are like small spots that, little bit of it has come up, but it's not like a hole or it's not a big section. Like, I don't think they've had to replace the whole thing yet. And this playground's been here for over 5 years.
So maybe it's more like 10 overall or something, as opposed to five
Yeah, I'm
years.
sure maybe see, like you said, Beth, see what the process is. If it starts deteriorating, like what can they do?
Right. Right. Okay. We did have a quote with the rubber mulching, but
I thought that was one of the first ones.
it was, but then we had decided to go with the wood, so then we went with the wood, and then he built the rest of the quotes with the wood.
Yep.
So I just have to sift back through the emails to find it.
Well, maybe if when we look at other companies, maybe the price will be less, and then we won't have to worry about this.
Yeah, that's true too. Right. I mean, I bet they're all comparable, honestly. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, we're
I'm
talking about equipment.
Right. It's probably within dollars.
Yeah, I would suspect that's the
Probably more like
case.
$100, but still.
Right, right. All right, so okay. So what we can do then tonight, okay. Hold on, I'm gonna screen share again. Oh, fun. Just kidding. I want to show you. Ha na na. No, 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 no. Get the no. Okay.
Can I ask a quick question?
Go ahead, whenever you're
Hello?
ready.
Oh,
Can you hear? Yeah.
so if we didn't do that dome thing, but we still kept the footprint the way it is and did the port in place and then did the wood mulch and just had the current picnic tables that are there just remained there. I mean, is that doable? Is that amount of wood chip and stuff factored into the quote?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So
So
that is,
it's just the dome basically that's the issue.
yeah, it's the dome. So that added section, we would have to add more timbers to the outside. You'd have to add more wood chips to the fill, the dome, and the labor to install it all. And that
Okay.
bumps you up from 179 to 187,
Okay.
excluding the demo. That's an additional 10,000 added on top. So the
Okay. So
quote,
we really need to figure that out, the demo.
yeah, the quote that's right here, right now, the 187, that is with the bump out.
Okay.
I'm calling it a bump out. That's that little dome picnic table area.
Yeah, I
But
feel
what's
like we should shoot for that.
the 187? Now we have to
Yeah.
add the demo of the 10, so we still have to add that in.
Okay.
But this is cool. This is a discount they have going right now. If you lock in, if we sign a contract with them by July 30th, and we won't know if we can go with them we have to find out the bidding process first. You do save $7,000, which I think is always nice. Is a savings really a savings ever? Is it though? This one too, this quote includes, Beth, to your point, it does have two ADA ramps. So the ramps are $560 a piece. So
Oh,
this
okay.
does ramps in there. So
Nice.
we can put that second ramp near the picnic tables if we wanted that.
That'd be a good idea.
And then here's the, the pouring place, $50,000. That's, that's big money,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, that's huge.
And then look at the mats, to put the mats under all the swings. That's big money.
Yeah, it's not showing us.
Do we need those with the chips and the rubber mulch, or is it just with the
Not showing.
chips?
So the rubber, nope, if the rubber mulch, you don't see the quote?
I don't at the moment.
No,
This is
not.
so stupid. It says I'm screen sharing. I'm sorry. Well, it says I'm
Okay.
screen sharing. I don't know what
We're
to
just
say.
seeing the file folder, Julie.
Oh, that's fun. Let's stop sharing. Let's
Oh,
try it.
something's changing.
Well, I stopped sharing. I'll share it again. So no, Felicia, when you have the poured, with the bump out, quote includes the bump out.
I have to step away for a few minutes. I'll be right back.
Okay. Do you guys see it now?
No.
No,
I don't know what to say.
wouldn't sweat it.
I'll look in my
Uh,
email from before.
Yeah, we
Okay,
can. What would be helpful, Julie? I mean, I sounds like, the feedback you're getting is that the layout's awesome. Everybody loves it. Couple minor details, right, that we're not sure about this or that, but generally, supportive feedback. What would be helpful to keep progress going?
So we have to have a contract locked in by December. So if we have to put this out to bid, start to finish, as we remember, or don't, it's a 60-day process. If we don't have a contract locked in, we will lose this ARPA money.
Mhm.
So we have to have things rolling sooner rather than later. Now, if we don't have to put this out to bid, we're in a much better situation, right? But if we have to put this out to bid, we have to kind of move. The work doesn't have to be started, but the contract just has to be locked in place. So what we need from the committee is we need to vote on the design of the project. Get approval from this committee on that. Maybe we can make we can put a clause in there with those questions that I've written down answered by Ryan, and then we'll do a follow-up. And then once I follow up with Kristen to see if these guys are on the bid list, and then we can go from there. But I just want to have the whole committee approve the playground design first, and then we can move forward with next steps.
Okay. So just taking some notes. I'm thinking, let me read back what I heard. Like just in
All right.
general, looking to get a kind of a green light from the group, like, yep, we're supportive of the design, so we can keep going. There's details that still need to be worked out with Ryan that can happen as well. One thing that I think probably should be a near-term step that we talked about but wasn't on the list is just getting a sense of the competitiveness of this bid, of this plan, right? So in one way we could do that pretty quickly might be, and again, I don't care where we source the work, but we have an inroad to another playground company through the Pavilion Guy. So we could literally take the design, email it to them, stripped of any branding from the current company, and just say, give us a quote for something similar, like roughly order of magnitude, what would this cost? What we want to hear is 180 or more, right? Then we know we're getting good value with this particular company, and then, yeah, let's keep going. But if they come back and say, oh, this is about 120 grand, then maybe it would be worth, continuing to support the current design, but understanding, like, could we get more for our money if we talk with another party? You know what I mean?
Yep, I do.
We could send it to the Ultiplay guy too.
Yep. So the trouble is, with these playground structures is they're very so the pavilion people might have a power play structure that isn't quite what we have. So, and I'm not a playground master, so I can look at this playground design, the big one we have, Felicia, and I can say, okay, we need a twirly slide, we need 2 slides, we need a ramp here. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna send us, say, all right, here's my best power play. That's what the big structure is called. Here's my best power play. And here's my best little guy's hut with 2 umbrellas. And here's my best what you want. But is it really what we've spent all this time choosing, right? I don't know, unless we see
Yeah.
that. And then we really go through with the fine tooth comb. We say, wait a minute, these monkey bars don't have that wraparound thing. And that's what we wanted. This balance beam isn't, you know what I mean? So I see what you're saying. I think it is important to get that competitive pricing, but these are businesses still at the end of the day. And they're trying to sell their product, which we know, right? So I'd be happy to do it to Yulte. I can do
I
it.
don't want to slow it down. I mean, I get it. Like, and you guys have put a ton of work into that design, and probably there's not another company that's going to create the exact same design because they all buy from different stuff places or make different
Sure.
things. We have no way of knowing if
Yeah.
what is presented in the plan that we love, is $180,000 worth of
Yeah.
playground or not.
Sure.
We just don't know.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good point.
I think the other
Um,
quote we had before was, a bit less. I think it was more like a 140, but it didn't have nearly as much poured in place rubber.
Yeah.
That was the one from Ultiplay, and it
Mhm.
didn't have as many I don't know what you want to call them, things for the kids to do, I guess. It didn't have um as big of a main structure as this one does. But I mean, I don't know, there may be other vendors that these companies use. Like I feel like we should definitely reach out to at least that guy Joe, maybe. I mean,
Yep.
he was pretty helpful before, and just see what comparable. I mean, he might pull something out of his pocket and be like, "Oh, I have this. It's
Yeah.
very
Okay.
similar." Or he can just
Sure.
say, "No, I definitely can't
Yep.
provide anything comparable to this." I
Yep.
don't know.
And I mean, it actually is just kind of expediting this for us because we're gonna need 3 quotes anyways, right? So
Right,
why
right,
not
yeah.
reach out to these other 2 companies? Bob, what is the name of the other company that you have?
It's called Premier Park and Play. I just put a
Oh, I
link
see it
in the
right now.
chat.
Yep. Perfect. Premier.
They actually designed the Vale Street playground, that whole thing.
Yes, yes. Yep.
Oh, nice.
All right. Perfect. That's perfect. Okay, so that's good. So let's do
You have
that
to be
then. That can
offline,
be the
Joe. I
next.
can give you the guy's contact information, or if you want me to send it to him, I can send it to him. Whatever's
Yeah,
easiest.
no, I don't mind doing that. You can will you send that contact over to me, Bob?
Yep.
Okay, Bob to send. All right, so I'll reach back out with Kristen and find out about the bid thing. We'll get these quotes over to Yulte Play and Premier Park and Play, or this design, and see if they can build some quotes. And then, so we have a couple things that we're just gonna have to wait on. I'll get back in touch with Ryan and ask about the warranty on the rubber surfacing. Color on the port in place, the rubber mulching, the cost there of that. I think I can just find that actually. And then to just confirm that there is no steel threads, how they remove those. And I think that's it, right? Oh, I will also say, add to this, because I know we have a lot of moving parts right now. The pavilion, we have the fields, we have the playground. So just really briefly, I'll talk about this because I don't really have an update on this. I'm meeting tomorrow with the engineer from Nessar Engineering. Bob, have you heard of them?
What
No?
is
Okay, I didn't know. What?
what's the name of it?
I think it's Nessar or Nisar, Nesar.
Oh.
they're a master planning company. I'm sure they do all sorts of other things. But it's just a consult. So he's gonna walk the grounds with me and kind of we're gonna have a conversation about the soccer, the baseball, the visions that we have that we had discussed. And maybe get a fresh take on from a professional standpoint what he thinks for our area. But because we have all these moving parts happening at the same time, Kristen thought it would be a very good idea for us to solicit, community feedback on this, and I think Bob, you've talked about this before, but on the master plan itself. And she said we can do that through a select board meeting and just asking to be on their agenda and to talk about the master plan for rec. And that if people want to come and ask questions, go ahead, Mark. Did you have a question?
Oh no, sorry.
Okay, no problem. So that's something to think about. I can update you guys after we meet with him, but just so that it is important, to have their feedback too on, what they would like to see for those grounds down there too, because we all have a vision, sure, but there may be someone else that comes along and we have that aha moment of, oh yeah, we didn't even consider that. So thank you. We want to make sure we build that in and we're thoughtful about community feedback too. But I think that's it. I mean, do you guys have anything? I know this was specific to playground, but if anyone has anything else to add, we can certainly do that.
Just say thanks. It looks awesome. I'm really excited. I think, man, kids will love having that playground.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, Felicia,
Yeah.
Mark had asked, and go ahead, Mark, then I'll say what you said.
Oh, I was just gonna say I really appreciate all the work you guys did on this. I know it was, very probably overwhelming, but you guys came through and it's awesome. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. Felicia, Mark had asked about the memorial playground, and I know you spoke with the family on that.
Oh yeah, Robin. So I talked to Robin, and the church, I guess, technically has some funds that were left in Casey's name. I guess it's kind of left over from before, or maybe they raised more funds. I'm not sure. But Robin would like to give those to us to add to the stuff that we're doing. But when I spoke with her, she did mention how when they originally planned the playground, it was supposed to be more of a toddler focused type playground, which I think the design we picked will definitely be good for that. But also, I had said if she wanted to either come up with like a name or some type of in memory of, and this was a few months ago, but she said she was going to think about it and get back to me. I think it was definitely a soft spot for her to talk about it, and she was a little overwhelmed at the time. But I do think we should keep kind of the bricks if we can somehow salvage that and make it look nicer, and maybe get a better sign that has what there is now, but also whatever she decides in memory of, or however she wants to do it. But I think the $1,200 or $1,500, in my opinion, should go towards that, because I'm not sure it will be a massive contribution to the huge 180,000. But I think if we could do it for that, or even sprucing up the plants and things like that. But I told her I'd get back to her after we had the ball rolling and that kind of stuff. But I haven't talked to her since. So,
Hi guys, I'm back.
That's a great idea.
What was the name? Can you remind us, Felicia, what the first name of the child was that the park was dedicated
Casey.
after?
Casey
Casey.
We could
Guilfoyle is
also
the last
plant a
name.
tree.
Well, they have the tree. I think the tree that the kids always climb was planted in memory of her, because that was something
Oh.
that she had mentioned. It's either that one or the one to the left. I think it's the one that the kids always climb.
Yep.
But she mentioned that when we talked. But
Oh, we can't remove
I
that
guess
then for the splash
no, we're
pad.
not touching that tree. No, we'll have to work around that.
Yep. Okay. All right, that's
But
great.
I think sprucing up that front, and I don't know if there's a way of bringing those bricks back to life somehow,
Power
because
wash.
all those people donated to the original park.
I was gonna say
I
power
had an
wash.
idea of creating like almost a wall. Imagine framing up a wall with a signage that said Casey's Place or I don't know, whatever
Yeah, that'd be
nice
awesome.
name the playground would be, and then
Yeah.
you can display the bricks in the wall in a
Mhm.
vertical way, so you can see all the names.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Maybe we could use
That would be a
someone to
good
find some.
barrier instead of arborvitae's.
I mean, the wall,
Bricks.
arborvitae's, and the fence, like no kids
Yes.
can through.
Oh.
No one's going anywhere. Okay, that's great.
You're
Yeah.
in, you're in.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're in, you're in. Okay, this is good, guys. This was a really good discussion. I think I feel like this was really productive. I'm glad everyone has seen the footprint. So just to be clear, are we are we going with the bump out or are we withholding and doing a second phase?
No, I think we should just do it all if we can somehow manage it.
Okay. Okay. So let's see if we can try that. Okay.
Agreed.
So we're going
Just
with
lead
the bump out. What?
Tell Ryan to find some more
Yeah.
discounts.
at least lead with that. Yeah, exactly. Or who
Okay.
knows? I mean, maybe we'll find that. Yeah, let's lead with that.
I mean, if we can get the demo done ourselves, we're fine. We're only at what 7,000 over? That's nothing.
Yeah, I would think we can do that ourselves.
I think so too.
I just don't
Yeah,
know
I
about the
think so.
liability.
I mean, Highway demoed the tennis courts essentially.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
true. Good
Mark,
point, Mark.
right.
Good point.
That's true.
I took the fence down, but the fence
Yeah,
has
that
the
is
same
just a fence.
foundations. Potentially
Yeah, I mean that was a huge job though. I mean,
good
that was
job.
a huge fence. And they did
That
it
was
quickly.
a huge fence. I don't
Oh,
know
it's
what that
working now.
entails, demoing playground equipment. I have no idea.
Scooping up the
Just
wood
tractors.
chips.
We have several tractors between all of us. We could
Right.
demo that real quick. And someone
what
could
do we
make a
do with
lot
the
of money
equipment?
at the junkyard.
With all the equipment?
Metal.
I don't know.
Is
Would
anything
people
worth
take that? I don't even
Is
know
any-
who we would ask. Who we would ask for that.
You'd have to
Who
do it at a
would-
scrap metal yard.
Just
Yeah, it's
recycling.
a scrap.
They'll take it.
Yeah, definitely.
By the pound.
All right, let me ask Kristen if we can demo it then. If we can demo it and save that $7,000, then we're in really good shape. Because it's only $7,526 over budget we are.
Mhm.
And we can
Sell some more bricks.
probably figure that out. Okay. All right, this was good. All right. So everyone then approves can someone make a motion to approve the existing design with the bump out?
Can we just call it a preliminary approval pending talking to other suppliers and stuff? So I make a motion that we approve the design as shown on a preliminary basis, pending some fine details sorted with the existing contractor as well as an understanding of competitive pricing from others. But yeah, yes. Can I get a
Great, yeah.
second?
A second.
Awesome. Now we just have to do a roll call because we're on Zoom. So Bob,
Bob Holmes.
Mark,
Uh,
Mark said I.
yes. What do I say?
Yes, I is perfect. Yep. Because you support it, right? You agree. Felicia,
Hi.
Beth.
I
All right, and I am an I as well. All right, guys, that's great. So we have a design. This is so exciting. So I will do everything I have to do on my end, and then I will just send. So you're going to get a gazillion different email notifications, and then if we have to meet again to vote, obviously we'll meet again to vote, and we can't deliberate through email. So if we have to have a conversation, we'll just schedule another Zoom. I think that's
Great.
it, right? We should
Thanks,
probably,
guys.
what is it, July? What are we in July?
Yeah.
We'll figure out the next meeting because we have to do the pavilion talk too, Bob. We have to figure out that when that's coming, what we're doing with all that and stuff. All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you all for your input.
guys.
Thank you guys.
All right, good night, guys.
Bye.
Bye.